Hi everybody. Today I'm doing a video on more frugal tips. I have 12 frugal tips. One of them is kind of like just a food for thought kind of thing, but I'm going to call them 12. So today I have 12 more frugal tips. You guys seem to love my frugal tip videos. So I thought I'd do another one. I just want to let you know too, I upload videos every Tuesday and Friday, and I'm noticing that they're taking so long to upload, that they're not ready till the end of the day. So I'm going to start with this video. I'm going to start trying to load them up in the middle of the night, like Monday night and Thursday night, so that way they're available earlier on in the day on Tuesday and Friday. So hopefully that works out better. Okay, so the first frugal tip that I wanted to give you, this is the one that's kind of more of an observation, is more than a tip. But anyway, my first one is about how noticing that frugality is also minimalism, environmentalism, because it does a recycle and reuse thing. So really it's more of an observation, just saying that frugality, environmentalism, and minimalism are all kind of one and the same. So that to me makes me feel even better about being frugal, because I do want to be thoughtful about the environment, and I do want to be minimalist. I really, as far as minimalism goes, as far as I'm concerned, I've been frugal my whole life, and minimalism just kind of happened. I've always lived in a smaller or smallish apartment or a smaller place, and found that I just naturally was trying to find things that, like, double uses for my kitchen appliances, or, really being thoughtful about when I buy something. Do I really want to bring that into my house? Do I have room for that? If I do bring that in, what am I going to get rid of? Because seriously, mostly my places have all been so small that if something comes in, something really kind of has to go out. So anyway, I just kind of wanted to know, you guys probably have all made that realization too. And I don't know, it kind of makes me feel good about it. I do, the fact that I am frugal, that's my main thing with doing frugality. But the fact that also it's environmental, and recycling and reusing, and it's minimalistic, I like all those things. Keeping that in mind, like I said, using your appliances for more than one thing. I do have more on my fourth tip, is actually about stuff like that. I'll tell you how I use my appliances for more than one thing. Okay, so that was number one. Minimalism, frugality is also minimalism and environmentalism. That was my number one tip. Number two, let me see. I guess let's see. Nope, I still have some stuff on number one. So these are examples of being how frugality is also equals minimalism and environmentalism. So say, for instance, you go to a thrift store and you buy some flannel sheets that are in there, and you're not going to use them as a flannel sheet. You're going to use them to make other things with them, like you're going to maybe you could make pot holders with them. You could make like cleaning rags for cleaning rags, or you could make your own, like, paper towels, that type of thing. So that's one way that frugality equals environmentalism, because you're using them for more than one thing. If you make your own Christmas presents, well, that's frugal, but it's also recycling and reusing. You're taking something and making it homemade. It's frugal, but you're also reusing it. And then, to be frugal, you say, for instance, change your own car oil. You only oil your own oil in your car. Well, that's being frugal, but it's also reusing, because in my area, and probably in all areas, there are lots of garages that take used car oil, and that's how they heat their garage. So they're reusing that oil to get heat out of it. So those are just some examples of how minimalism and frugality and environmentalism are all the same. Okay? So my number two tip is buy good quality, cheap, and make it last as long as possible. So say, for instance, the example that I just gave you before. You go into a store, you buy, like I did a video earlier where I found at a thrift store for 50 cents, I bought an LL Bean shirt. It was a wrinkle resistant shirt. So that's like super good quality. And if I lose a button on that shirt, well, I'm going to sew another button back on. If it starts to, maybe get a little tear on the cuff, I'm going to sew it and fix it and make it last longer. I also did a video on how to darn socks. Well, I got a pair of socks for Christmas a long time ago, and they're the Smart Wool socks that are very pricey. I think they're around $25 a pair. Well, the heel wore out. Well, the rest of the socks were plenty, good enough to they have plenty of use in them, so mend the sock. Darn the heel, fix that hole in the heel so that you can wear them a little bit longer. Those are just a couple examples of how to buy good quality and make it last as long as possible. I have in the past had a good pair of shoes that maybe the heel wore out on it or whatever. Bring it to there aren't many of these around anymore, I know, but in my area there's a cobbler, somebody that fixes shoes. They fix leather things, and I had a pair of shoes where the heel wore out on it. I had a new heel put on it. You can get new soles put on your shoes. I also had a pair of loafers one time where the toe of them came unsewn. And they were great leather loafers. I brought them to this place and had them re-sew where it had come unsewn on the toe. So buy good quality and make it last as long as possible. Mend clothes that you buy, resole your shoes. Okay, so number 3, my number 3 frugal tip is to use if you have fish, like I do. I have a goldfish. I did a video on how to clean a tank, or a goldfish tank. But anyway, use your fish tank water to water your plants, your household plants, or your garden. Fish, they sell fish emulsion to put on your garden. It's like some kind of a type of fertilizer for your garden, fish emulsion. So fish stuff is really good for your garden. So I have a fish, like I said here, and I use it to water my houseplants. And you can save up milk jugs or juice containers or whatever. And in the summertime, when you have a garden, you can save that water. And when you go to your garden, bring it to your garden. Or my garden isn't where I live; it's someplace else. And so, I will time my fish changing of the water at a time when I know I'm going to be going to take care of my garden. If you have your garden right outside your door, well, gosh, you don't even have to wait. You can just change your fish water, save it, and bring it out and water your garden, or your flowers, or your plants, or your trees, or anything like that. Like I said, fish emulsion is an actual fertilizer that you buy for your garden. So that's tip number 3. Tip number 4 is to use your appliances for more than one thing. This is a really great example I found online the other day. Different ways that you can use your drip coffee maker for things other than coffee. You can heat up the water for tea. Just put water through the tank without putting coffee in it. It heats up the water, and you can use the hot water for tea. Pour it in a cup, get it heated up in your coffee maker. Put it in a coffee cup or a tea cup, and put your tea bag in it. Let's see. Heat your water up to make oatmeal, homemade oatmeal. Even if you get the little packets of oatmeal, you would heat the water up in your coffee pot and your drip coffee maker, and then use that hot water to make your oatmeal. You can also do the packets of hot chocolate, heat the water up the same way, and then just use that water for your hot chocolate mix. This one is really cool. I love this one. You heat as much water as you need for ramen noodles. You heat it up in your coffee maker. You can put the noodles right in the coffee pot and let them seep and sit for like 3 minutes, and there you go. You've got ramen. And I also saw one that you heat the water up in there and you put in eggs and let them sit in there for 10 minutes. That makes hard-boiled eggs. I thought those tips were really great for college kids. I don't know if college kids use drip coffee makers in their dorm rooms, but gee, I thought those were great tips. You don't need to have a stove. You don't need to have even a hot plate or anything like that. You just use your coffee maker, and I thought those were great. And I also did see online that some people were using it for like you could make a grilled cheese sandwich on it. I don't know if I would do that, but hey, if you have to, that's something you could do with it. Um, and trying to think of other ways. I use my toaster oven. I will heat up my burritos. If I'm going to make a burrito, I just stick my tortilla in there and warm it up in there. I put it on toast, and I just toast it up maybe half a minute, and that warms it up so that I can make my burrito with it. And I also heat up pizza, like if I have leftover pizza and I want to eat it for a meal, I just heat up my pizza in there. I also use it in the wintertime when it's cooler in the house. If I make toast or bread or something, my butter is hard. I'll cut out a little hunk of butter, put it on the toast after it's toasted, and then I put it back in the toaster oven. The toaster oven is off, but it's warm from making the toast, and it melts the butter on top. So that works quite good for me. Okay, and also too, I don't know why I had this here. I just along the lines of not necessarily using an appliance for different uses, but these are just tips. If you make something in your kitchen and it doesn't come out right, don't throw it away. Use it for other things. Like for instance, if you try to make yogurt and it doesn't come out, it is kind of runny or whatever, don't throw it away. Make little pops for your kids, like freezer pops for your kids, or just put it in a dish. If you don't have any kids, put it in a dish and put it in your freezer, and that's frozen yogurt. So you can eat it like frozen yogurt. Also too, if you get cans of, I don't know if anybody does this anymore, but if you get cans of like peaches or mandarin oranges, I like to keep mandarin oranges around because I make chicken salad with it. So don't throw the juice away. When you make the chicken salad, you drain the mandarin oranges, keep the juice. You can put it in the freezer if you don't have enough to do anything with it, but you can use it in freezer pops. You could use that juice for like instead of the liquid in like a cake mix or something like that. But don't throw it away. Keep it. Stale bread, of course, everybody knows you can make breadcrumbs or croutons or something with stale bread. So don't throw that stuff away. Oh, it also makes really good bread pudding. If you have some older kind of dried out bread, make bread pudding with it. It's fantastic. Okay, that was number 4. Number 5 is learn different skills. There are all kinds of skills out there that would be really useful for you to learn. Like, for instance, learn how to sew. That bag project that I did the other day, that's a sewing project for me, and it's just simple, straight sewing. I'm learning how to knit right now. I've got a loom, and I'm making socks for myself. So learn how to sew, knit, crochet. There are tons of books out there, and there are tons of, now with the internet, you guys, we have so many things available for us to learn these different skills. If you're a man, or even I guess if you're a woman, I don't want to be sexist here, but learn how to use a chainsaw. And if you burn wood for your own heat, like you live in a cold climate like we do, learn how to use a chainsaw, and then you can cut up your own firewood and that type of thing. Learn how to do stuff on the computer. For instance, doing the YouTube videos has taught me how to make and edit videos. All that stuff's kind of useful this day and age. Social media, there are a ton of jobs out there for people who want to, blog writers or social media writers. So learn how to do that stuff. You'd be amazed at the odd jobs that it could give you. It could be good side jobs for you. So all kinds of computer stuff. Learn how to cook. There's a ton of cooking out there. I love you've heard me talk about the American Homesteader. Jamie on the American Homesteader, she said she learned how to cook by watching Rachel Ray. There's all kinds of people who don't know how to cook, and you get tips and hints from your family members that know how to cook. You can go online this day and age on the internet. My gosh, there's a ton of places that teach you how to cook. Learn how to change the oil, your own oil in your car. Around here, I think it's around $25 or $30 to change the oil in your car. And if you can buy oil and filters cheaper, and if you have a garage and you can do it yourself, hey, that saves you, $30 every oil change, so at least twice a year, so $60 at least. Learn how to do your own taxes. There's TurboTax and all those places there that make it pretty easy for you to do your own taxes these days. Bookkeeping. If you have a business and you learn how to do your own bookkeeping, so you don't have to hire an accountant, or maybe you have to hire an accountant less. Just hire an accountant to do your taxes every year, but you keep your own books. That's what I did when I had my own transcription business. Learn how to cook vegetarian is another little money-saving tip. If you don't have to buy meat, you can actually grow most of your stuff in your garden. If you can grow beans, I mean, my gosh, that's helpful. And not only does it help you to lose weight, but it helps you to save money. So learn how to cook vegetarian. Learn how to garden. There's all kinds of, you guys know I'm a gardener. I've said that many times and I love it. Really good for you in so many different ways. But you save money on food. That's a great way to do it. But there's all kinds of different ways to garden. There is permaculture gardening, organic gardening. You can learn how to garden using raised beds. There's something called square foot gardening. Now, if you're in a tiny area, you only need just a deck or, real small space gardening. It's called square foot gardening. There's tons of books out there. The author's name is Mel Bartholomew. So he's been out for quite a while and had those books out for quite a while. So get his books and check out and see how to do square foot gardening. It's fantastic. That's a great way to get stuff done. So that was number 5. Number 6, find out from your electric company when is the cheapest time to use electricity. I did that with my company. I found out that my company has off-peak, they call it off-peak hours. In the summertime, their off-peak hours are 8 p.m. to 7 a.m. weekdays, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, and all day every holiday. So if you use your electricity during those times that I just mentioned, you'll be paying less for your electricity. So that's what I did. When I first moved into this apartment and I had to start paying my own electric bill, I called them and found out when the electricity was cheaper. So for a while there, I was doing all of my laundry on the weekends. I only did laundry on the weekends. Now it's different because I've gone back to using my clothes rack. Money's a little tight right now, so I want to cut my electric bill down, so I've been using my clothes rack lately. So I've been doing laundry like throughout the week. If I don't have to use my dryer, then, I'll do it laundry anytime I can use my clothes rack. I do still wash my sheets on the weekend because my sheets require the dryer. So those, I do still use it. But yeah, call your company. Now, my company has different off-peak hours in the winter than they do in the summer. In the winter, the weekend off-peak times are noon to 4 p.m. So, in the morning and in the evening is considered peak hours during the weekend. Still 8 p.m. to 7 a.m. on the week, throughout the week. So anyway, do that, you guys. I don't even know if you guys have that in your area, but give it a try. Call your electric company and find out, do you guys have any cheaper off-peak hours that I could use my electricity, and really try to skimp and use your electricity during those off-peak hours. Like, if you have a full-time job and off-peak hours are the weekend, well, that's perfect. Do your cooking for the week on Saturday and Sunday. Do your laundry on Saturday and Sunday, and that way, not only do you not have to do laundry and cooking when you're tired after work, but you're using it during off-peak hours. So that was number 6. Number 7, eat more vegetarian meals. Like I said before, if you don't have to buy meat, I do eat meat, but I always try to buy marked down meat. And I have a son who's a farmer. He's a beef farmer, and he gives me beef. So I do save money that way, but even if you try to cut back, if you just try to cut back on, maybe eat meatless Mondays, have one day a week where you eat more vegetarian meals. Or you could make sure you eat vegetarian for breakfast and lunch, but maybe eat meat for dinner. So if you do it that way, that allows you to cut back just a tiny bit. You're still eating meat, but you're cutting back. And that also helps you to lose weight. One time, probably about 10 years ago, I tried vegetarianism, and I lost 20 pounds, and I didn't even try. I just kind of ate vegetarian, but because it's such low fat, that I ended up losing weight. So that was number 7. Number 8, start your own garden seeds. This is very helpful because a packet of seedlings is quite expensive around here. So I don't know, I don't know if any of you guys are finding that in your areas, but seedlings tend to be quite expensive. So around here, not around here. What am I talking about? So to start your own seeds inside, you could save your containers. Like I said, if you have a little yogurt container, save those. I've seen them done in egg cartons. You can start your seeds that way if you have a nice, bright, sunny window. The only thing I can say is make sure you keep them in a warm place because seedlings do like it warm. But there's something called seed tape that you can make yourself. So like right now, we've got like 6 feet of snow outside, but I'm thinking about my gardening. So if I would get my garden seeds now, I could make my own seed tape. And how you do that is you take paper towels and you cut it in strips. Then you take your packet of seeds and you look to see on the back of the packet, how far does your spacing have to be to plant those seeds. And then you put a seed however, it tells you however far apart you need to put them. And then come planting time, you just take your seed tape and plant it in the ground. I have seen people use old aquariums. You can take an old fish aquarium and make a little seedling starter. So those are 2 great options. Tons of aquariums at all the yard sales and thrift stores and yard sales that I go to in the summer. There's always an aquarium there. Okay, so that was number 8. Number 9 is a great tip, you guys. I'm sure everybody has a Craigslist everywhere they go. So on Craigslist, if you guys are doing any kind of remodeling, specifically kitchen remodeling, go on Craigslist and don't look under building supplies. Go under materials. You can find amazing deals on there. It is unbelievable the deals that you can find on there. Some people will completely remodel their kitchen and they sell their old kitchen on Craigslist on the materials list. So remember, not building materials, but materials. That's where you want to go. I only caution you on that. Number 10 is my caution on that. It is when you buy paint, do not buy used paint. I hate to say that, but I used to work at Home Depot in the paint department, and I learned a lot while I was there. One of the things that I learned was people who tried to cheap out on paint, you do need to spend money on paint. Get money to get the good stuff, and you won't regret it. There were lots of times people would come in and they would have bought paint at a discount store or at a yard sale or garage sale or something like that. If paint has been frozen, like around here we have 4 seasons, and if paint has been frozen, it will not dry. So, and it doesn't look any different. In the can, it looks exactly like brand new paint. So you can buy this paint like for a couple bucks at a discount store or at a yard sale or a garage sale or something like that. That paint could have been frozen and you don't know it. You paint it on something and it will not dry. I don't even know how to fix that problem, to tell you the truth, because you can't slap good paint on top of it, because I don't think that would work. But there were lots of people that tried to do that. So that was my one big takeaway when I worked at the paint department is don't cheap out on paint, you guys. As tempting as it is, because paint is like $50 a gallon, but you want to get the good stuff. Now, I will say, I worked at Home Depot, and they have a specific kind of paint, and you guys probably all know what it is. I don't even know if I can say it, but I'm not going to. But they have a specific brand of paint, and within that brand of paint, there was a lower scale paint, a mid scale, and a high scale. The lower scale was, at the time I was there, was like $36 a gallon. The higher one was like $65 a gallon. It's all more than that now. But anyway, I would go with one in between. It was excellent paint. Even the lower end one, the paint was excellent. So you don't have to spend $75 on a gallon of paint to get good paint. Go with a mid-grade. There was one particular brand that I absolutely hated. It was like water, and I would not even recommend that to people. I'm not going to say what it is, but if you cheap out too much on paint, it's too watery. You'll have to do a lot of coats. But like I said, stick with a good brand, go with a mid-grade, and you could probably pick it up for like 36 to maybe $45 a gallon, right around there. But there are instances where that cheapy, watery, crappy paint is good. I mean, if you're gonna like paint a chicken coop, okay, you don't need any great kind of paint for that. Slap some cheap paint on it, you're good to go. You say school projects, what do they call those? Derby. Those derby car derbies that they have, those you can use cheap paint on. Like say there's a parade coming up and your school group is going to be doing a float for a parade. Sure, go ahead and get the cheap paint, slap that on, you're good to go. But if you're going to paint something that's important to you, go ahead and get the good paint. But like I said, you can save a little bit of money by going with a mid-grade. Even a lower grade sometimes is good. But boy, those paints now that have the primer in them, those are excellent. Paint and primer in one. Those are excellent paints. So there. That was number 9, Craigslist materials, and number 10, buy good paint. Then my number 11. Number 11. When you go to thrift stores and garage sales, those great places where you can find fantastic deals on stuff, really have an open mind and really put your thinking cap on and think outside the box. How can you use, whatever you can buy for 50 cents there? How else can you use it? Here's a for instance. I don't know, I don't think people iron clothes anymore, but I still have an ironing board and those ironing boards have ironing pads on them. Well, guess what? Those ironing pads are heat resistant. So if you have ironing board pads out there at a thrift store, buy them and make, excuse me, my cat's going to drink my water. Buy those ironing board pads and make oven mitts with them, or grill mitts or something like that. Learn how to sew, make those oven mitts with those things. Either wool suits, old flannel shirts or flannel nightgowns or flannel sheets. You can make those into rags for home, quilts. It's fantastic if you're a quilt maker. You live in a cold climate like I do. You need to make quilts. Well, there you go. You can use materials that you find at a thrift store. And napkins, cloth napkins. You guys can make all that stuff out of there. Dust cloths. Flannel shirts apparently make great dust cloths. Old crafting supplies. I went into I like to do paper crafts. So stamps, acrylic stamps or wooden stamps. I went to a Goodwill, Salvation Army, when I just discovered this Salvation Army, and they had some old wooden stamps in there. And I was looking through them. They must have had 100 of them. And the lady behind the counter said, "Oh, we had hundreds of these in here." It was an old a lady that passed away, and her family members brought them to Salvation Army. So you guys, crafting supplies, you never know. There's yarn there all the time, too. I will tell you that. Let's see. Oh, and another thing I saw the other day now, they have these hangers all the time at thrift stores. You can get them for little to nothing. But when you go to Kmart or Walmart or, whatever store you buy your pants or your clothes at, and they have those plastic hangers with those metal clips on either side of them that hang pants off of them. I saw the other day on Facebook, what a great little tip. Somebody had one of those with a cookbook. It was open to the recipes she wanted, clamped onto the cookbook, and they hung it on the knob of their upper cabinets in the kitchen. Perfect. There it is, right in front of you. There's your recipe. You don't have to fish through it with dirty hands. You're not losing your page all the time. So fantastic. See what I mean? If you really think about what it is that you are, how can I use this in a different way? Or think around your house, like, gee, I need this utensil in the kitchen. What can you use in place of it? So those are all great things to keep in mind. Now, number 12, this is my last tip. And this is all, I had started out saying make your own salad dressings, but really it's kind of make your own mixes. There's a lady out there, I don't know her name, but she's got a great website called Budget 101, and she's got a ton of recipes on there. Make your own recipes, but also copycat recipes. And what she said is, instead of sitting around at night watching TV, she makes mixes. So And as far as I know, she worked, but she had kids and that were in sports and all that stuff. And she ended up losing a lot of weight and being frugal. That's how she started out doing it. You see, this goes right along with my first tip, tip number one that I was saying about how, usually frugality leads into other things. Well, for her, frugality led to weight loss, like major weight loss, health, better health. So anyway, make your own mixes. So here are some examples: salad dressings, hot cocoa mix, Bisquick mix, smoothies. Do up little packets to put in the freezer for smoothies and for the breakfast in the morning. Spice mixes like apple pie spice mix, pumpkin pie spice, taco seasoning mix, seasoned salt. You can make your own pesto, breakfast sausage. There's actually a little, you can get, I have a sausage recipe that I really like. You can make up a little spice packet so that when you buy a pound of sausage, like say it's sweet Italian sausage, you throw the breakfast sausage seasonings in there, and there you go. You've got some breakfast sausage. Coffee creamer mixes. You can do that. All kinds of recipes out there for that. Bread or cake mixes, even cookie mixes you could do that with. I prefer the idea about making a batch of cookies and then rolling it in wax paper or cellophane and putting them in the freezer, or slicing them, then put them in the freezer, and you can take out one at a time. I really like that. So anyway, you guys, those are my tips, my frugal tips. I hope you guys like them as much as you like my other ones. You seem to really enjoy the frugal tips out there. So I know there's people out there that are trying to do the same thing I'm doing, save money and be frugal and be environmental and, save a little bit around your house. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. I really do appreciate your support. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button below and the notification button too, so that you know whenever I put out videos. But I will tell you, I do put them out on Tuesdays and Fridays. Okay, thank you again, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.